morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Welcome to the final edition of the Full 100. Today being Friday, the 8th of January. We're already nearly into the double figures of January, guys. Look, today's show is a short one. Today's show is really about know who your friends are, know who your coalition is, know what birds flying in your flock, right? So, guys, without further ado, let's get down to today's show. Right. Today's show is about meeting some of those who took part in the events that you saw at the White House the other day. Look, like what they keep saying now is it's a form of radicalization. It really is a form of radicalization. And what the first video I'm going to show you is a British journalist, Robert Moore, who's an ITN journalist, who found himself in the middle of the protest. But he's got famous in America because of his report. Yeah, which I'm going to show you a short part of, just about what he said. What he didn't realize, it seems to me, that he didn't realize that he went there thinking this is pure political people wanting to vote for voting for Trump, angry that Trump's lied to them. He was aware of the lie that Trump's telling them, and that's raised their angst and all that. But what he didn't know, that I've been telling people in that group that I was in, is that there's a coalition. Let me tell you who makes up this coalition that you are involved in. Let me tell you who's in that coalition. You got the KKK in this coalition. You got the EDL, your Tommy Robinsons, they're in this coalition. You got the white supremacists of every kind, they're in that coalition. You got conspiracy believers. You got QAnon believers. You got anti-vax, the anti-vax lot. You got the anti-lockdown lot. You got the anti-social distancing lot. You got the virus deniers. You got the dark web / rabbit hole dwellers. And that rabbit hole dwellers, that's the first I heard of that. You know whose face that was? Robert Moore. Listen to what he said to the CNN journalist who interviewed him, because he's famous now in America because of his clip following these guys. Yeah, listen to Robert Moore's shock that when he got there, it wasn't just, Tony Blair, we're here for Tony Blair, we want. It was all kinds of freaky people. Take a look at my first video.
Got through the door and into the very sort of corridors of power. And what we saw there, what we heard, was a real blend of different views in a way. Yes, there were the ultra-nationalists, the sort of Proud Boys were there in that crowd, but there were also just people who were deep down the rabbit holes of some pretty dark and deep conspiracy theories, believing not only that the election had been stolen, but many other things. For example, one person said to me, we're after paedophiles on Capitol Hill. So there was some extraordinary sort of diversity of views, if you like.
Welcome back. So like I said, you can see his astonishment, like the rabbit hole dwellers, they're going there. I mean, those in the group, when I was telling them last May, you're sounding like a Trump supporter. You're sounding like one of these people. They got mad with me. But I hope they can now see that I was telling the truth. Be careful who you fly with. Right? Now, you see this next video, right? I'll tell you what, they've been very successful at gathering some Nazi people in this coalition style. And listen, my next video, take a look at this guy that's in your coalition.
They cheered Donald Trump and his allies as they continued to lie that the election was stolen.
Let's have trial by combat.
He just said trial by combat. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Good, innit? I'm ready. He said fight combat. I'm ready. I'm ready. I mean, that's who's in the coalition, right? These are guys who live they live in a not. Listen, anyone who's grown and watches, the fake wrestling match, these people in America like that, that's who those wrestling make-believe stuff is for. These guys pay good money to go watch make-believe stuff. Like you're going to the theater and it's a play, but these guys believe it. That's the planet that they're in. This is why I worked it out the other day. This is why it's so easy to get these people, because they're already in that mode. They don't travel, they don't do not much. They're in that mode where make believe is real to them. Anyway, let me show you who else is in your coalition. Now, this guy is elected, right? And I know this guy from before Trump, yeah? For a lot of these educated guys that you thought was smart, there's a before Trump and there's an after Trump. When Trump came in, they became dumb. I don't know what happened to them. It's like my leader's dumb, and as soon as I love him, I'm going to be dumb, just like him. Because Trump is dumb. Everyone agrees with that. Many of them now are jumping ship, by the way. Many of these people that are telling you they're coming to take your freedom, they're all jumping ship right now. They're saying, oh, I stood up to Trump, and they're playing clips for them. The ones who want reputation back are coming to CNN to say, I'm out. Those who were so deep in it, they're going to Fox News and say, well, I did stand up to him. And they know they're not going to be asked no serious questions because this is Fox News, yeah? So they go to Fox News. They know they come CNN, they're going to have to deal with some, or ABC or NBC, they're going to deal with some tough questions. And that's what they're doing. The ones who kind of are ready for it because they didn't go like me, they're going CNN to denounce him now. So all of you are still standing up to those things, including those who write it. Make them know he even denounced them last night, yeah? I'm not even going to play the tape. He denounced them yesterday after he told them we love you the day before. The day after, when everyone's walking out of his cabinet and he now knows he's what he's done. A policeman's just died. Now he's denouncing them. So you lot stay there, follow this guy. This guy don't care about no one. Anyway, take a look at the elected official. Take a look at this.
I want to shock people. I want to scare them with this guy's face. Jim Jordan, regularly one of the worst members of our elected government, had this to say about the ongoing attempts to limit the number needlessly dying during this pandemic. He tweeted, 60 million Americans are subject to a stay-at-home order or curfew. 11 million are right here in Ohio. What would the founders say? So we're going to have a little bit of what the founders might have said. But first, can we just acknowledge, we are in, this is December 29th when he sent that. We're losing a 9/11 a day. And his contribution to the national dialogue about this is they're making people stay at home. You know what they had back in the day? Now, yes, they didn't have AR-15s. They didn't have cars. They didn't have black presidents. But what they did have was infectious disease. And so critics responded to Jim Jordan by pointing out that the founders had, in fact, followed strict measures to stifle infectious disease outbreaks based on the science of their time. During the American Revolution, for instance, George Washington worked to contain a smallpox epidemic by isolating anyone suspected of infection and limiting outside contact with his army. In 1776, when the British withdrew from Boston, Washington mandated that only soldiers that had already been infected be allowed into the city. In 1796, in response to a deadly yellow fever outbreak, Congress passed the first federal quarantine law, which was signed by Washington. It authorized the federal government to help states enforce quarantines as necessary.
Welcome back. So he's also your coalition, yeah? A guy who is sitting and watching a 9/11 happen every day. By the way, yesterday they hit 4,008. For the first time, they hit 4,000 people dead in one day. One day, right? And he's bitching about they want to lock you down and take away your freedom. Footnote, that guy's already got vaccinated. That guy has been vaccinated. So all these people that are talking about taking your freedom away, let them go, what would our founding fathers have done? They're vaccinated, you're not. I'll give you one last video. This guy, he's the head of your coalition right now. You can smell the supremacy, the white entitlement just oozing out of his talk, out of his skin. How dare they stop us from going into the houses of parliament in my country? We're taking our country back. Then the interview before he goes in, you think it's all about the constitution, about politics, and then the interview when he comes out after he's paraded himself in the houses of parliament, Congress, comes out, and then now he's about our freedom and coronavirus, and they want to lock us down. You can't make this up. Watch this last guy, and I'll see you on the other side. This guy is in your coalition.
Supposed to do, okay? The Supreme Court's not helping us. No one's helping us. Only us can help us. Only we can do it. We rushed them. We charged them. We got all the way to the steps. They made a line. So we stood there and we tried to push them back a little bit until finally they started getting rough with us. So we tried to push them back. So that's what we did. We pushed them back. We tried to get up the steps. They wouldn't let us up. So then they started pepper spraying and macing everybody. So we're fighting back.
And what's the point? What's the end game?
What's the point?
Yeah.
We're losing our freedoms. What do you mean, what's the point?
Taking our freedoms, locking us down, and turning this country into a blasted socialist republic. And that is not right. That's what I'm doing here.
Guys, we've come to the end of the show. End of a long week. End of a chaotic week. But glad to see the weekend here. Guys, I'll see you all back on Monday. On Monday, we're going to address the race aspect of what we saw this week. Okay? It's going to be it's going to be a show worth subscribing for to make sure you don't miss it when I upload. So please hit the subscribe button if you like what we're doing, appreciate what we're doing. If you think we've been helpful this week with information, hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you all on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.